People, we're back again. It's been a while. It's been a while. Your boy's been away, but we're back. Um, the transfer window obviously closed. We didn't get Osimhen like we thought we would have. But I'm not too unhappy with the window we had. I believe we have added a few, options in attack that potentially can make up for some of the lack of goals we had last year. You're talking about your Pedro Netos and your Felix, your Sancho's. You still have Noni, Palma, and Kunku. I know a lot of people are not big on Mudrik right now, and to be fair, he just hasn't really lived up to the potential. But that's still another body up front. You have Jackson, you have Gill. So I mean, I think we still have a decent amount in attack, and it's not the worst. You know what I mean? But today's video, you look, I'm gonna look at the predominantly the top six teams, the business we did in the transfer market, and I'm gonna give them letter gradings. Um, Obviously, again, we all spent some money. Arsenal spent money. Chelsea spent money. Man City didn't really spend too much, but with the kind of team they have, they really don't have to spend for a few windows. United definitely spent some money. Spurs spent some money. Um, Liverpool, I mean, they only got Chiesa in because they got rejected by Zubimendi. So all they spent on was Chiesa and Mamadashvili, who wouldn't join them till next year. So we're gonna get into it. But I'll start off with Arsenal. So Califiori came in, Marino came in. They got Sterling on loan, which let me talk about that for a quick second because here's my genuine opinion on that when it comes to Sterling going to Arsenal. If you look at the strength and depth that Arsenal has, again, I think they sent what's the other guy's name? They sent him on loan to Fulham. Let me see. Reese Nelson. Nelson went to Fulham, but again, Nelson wasn't really someone who's going to be played a lot, so it didn't really matter if they sent him to Fulham or not. But Sterling joining Arsenal, I look. Here's what I expect is going to happen, or this is what I suspect. I think Sterling probably starts off really well, with a point to prove. Like we basically left them out of match day squads. The managers let him know, listen, you're not going to be a part of my team, so you might as well find somewhere else to go. So I think Sterling goes to Arsenal with the point to prove, with just a bit of desire and maybe hunger to prove a point. Look, I I don't know if it's going to make a big difference when it comes to uh their championship hopes because I believe Man City is going to go five in a row. That's just what I believe. I don't think any other teams have done enough to stop Man City, and I don't think Sterling really adds that much to that Arsenal team. Yes, I see him getting a few goals. I see him getting a few assists, but other than that, I don't really see Sterling doing much. But I could be wrong. You know what I mean? Sterling could go out there and just handle business. He really could and just do his thing. But like I said, I don't see it happening. So we'll see how that goes. But that's the business they did. They got Neto from Bournemouth. Uh, I think Tierney's still in their team. That's another left back option. They got rid of Nun Tavares and Marquinhos. So I look at Marino, Califiori, Sterling. Again, Neto doesn't really do much because he's a goalkeeper and he's not going to play a lot of games. For Arsenal's transfer window, I'm going to give them a C minus, and I know people are going to be like, "What?" But think about this for a second. You finished second last season behind Man City. Let me see how many points Arsenal finished behind. Man City last year. And I just want to know the points. EPL winners last season. I just want to see by how many points did they finish behind Man City. No, not that. I want to see how many points Arsenal got last season, so I can really land this point I'm trying to make. Wait, why is it not popping up for me? What the hell is this? Anyway, so last season you finished behind Man City. And I'm thinking, okay, if Arsenal does want to win the league this year, you go and you essentially do better than what Man City did, which means you strengthen your attack, um, and you do what is necessary to essentially win the league. So Man City finished on 91 points, Arsenal finished on 89 points. So that's 2 points. So what do you how do you bridge the gap between Man City and Arsenal? And again, goal scoring was not really Arsenal really struggled with, but you kind of needed a gunman up front where you didn't have to rely on those results against like Aston Villa and struggling to break them down. So Arsenal should have been in the market aggressively for me for a forward because I don't Havertz does not win you a league. I'm sorry, Jesus does not win you a league. Um, Saka cannot win you a league on his own. Um, Odegaard can't win you a league on his own. I believe for Arsenal to beat Man City, when it comes to 38 games played, you need someone who can pull you out of the gutter. You need a gunman. You need someone who is reliable, someone who is consistent. You haven't really lost much, but it's just adding a defender. Now, Califiori looks like a decent player, right? Marino, we're going to see how he plays when he comes back in the team because he's going to be out for a couple of weeks. Actually, I think like 2 months. Um, and then Sterling. Do these additions bridge the gap between you and Man City? No. If anything, Man City arguably got a bit stronger. Yes, they did lose Julian Alvarez, but Holland is always going to get you goals. You know what I mean? Foden is going to get you goals. Doku wouldn't get you a lot of goals, but he'll get you assists. Bernardo Silva would chip in with some goals, would chip in with assists. Now they have Savio on the flanks. You know, Grealish is always going to come back in. It's just Man City are the stapleton, right? And for Arsenal to be better than Man City, I don't believe they did enough. And I think the additions they added onto that team just doesn't move the needle for me. And I think just not addressing what they needed for me was going to be just you just need a gunman up front because some of the chances Havertz was not taken. You have someone clinical enough up front. You do a lot better. You'll probably wrap this league up before Man City catches up to you. And hence why I'm going to give them that C minus because I don't think they really addressed what they needed in the team. You didn't need defensive additions like that because your defense is already one of the best. And they went ahead. The first transfer is a defender. The next transfer is a midfielder, and then you got Sterling coming in. Who let's be honest. Yeah, Sterling might add something here and there, but I think he's past it, bro. I think Sterling is just at that point where you get what you get from Sterling, which is going to be inconsistencies. So I don't see Arsenal winning this league. I don't think they did enough to push Man City all the way, and I think Man City is going to go take it again. So Arsenal, I give them a C minus. I mean, they got rid of some people. They made some money. I think they made about 82 million euros, so that's not bad. They sold Smith Rowe to Fulham, Nketiah went to Palace, Ramsdale went to Southampton, um, Reece Nelson on loan to Fulham, and Vieira went back to Porto. So again, decent outgoings, but now you've really weakened your first team because yeah, I know Sterling might be the replace, that not the replacement, but the guy who can come in when you need to give Saka a rest. And on the left, yes, you can play Martinelli, you can play Trossard. So on the flanks, I think now for Saka, you kind of have Sterling to be that backup, so you're good. But up front, Jesus is barely fit. He can't really prove his fitness. Havertz is very inconsistent up front. So it's just, and you've lost Nketiah. Again, you are not going to play Nketiah, but in certain, League Cup games, dead rubber games, you could have thrown him in there and just rested Havertz. And I don't think Arsenal have done that. So their squad for me right now is still pretty paper thin. And I see Man City just steamrolling this, bro. So yeah, I don't see Arsenal doing much when it comes to that. We're gonna go to Chelsea. Now you already know every transfer window, you have about 15 new people coming in and like another 10 leaving. That's just been our reality, unfortunately. But this transfer window, I mean, I think we sold quite well. The biggest thing for me was, and most Chelsea fans can agree, getting rid of certain players that are just not part of the plans. If Lukaku doesn't have a future here, get him out. You don't think Sterling is good enough? Get him out. You don't think Chilwell is good enough? You get him out. Right? So we've had some incomings, we've had some outgoings. Again, Pedro Neto from Wolves. Look, a lot of teams will take Pedro Neto in a heartbeat from the likes of Man City all the way down to like your West Hams and your Ipswiches, all of these guys who have taken Pedro Neto. Joao Felix, not a lot of people are convinced. Again, his first stint with us, 4 goals, 2 assists ish, I think. Didn't really pull that many trees, but he only played about 16 to 17 games. So you can't really do much more than that, right? And then you got to consider when he was playing at the club, you still had your Conor Gallagher. That midfield was just stinky. Gallagher, Mount, Havertz, Felix, Enzo. Like that midfield was just not it. Felix can't really thrive with the options that he had. He went to Barcelona, had a good season out there. I believe he had like 14 goals and 6 assists, if I'm not mistaken. So he did have a good loan spell in Barcelona. And let's just be honest, there's just certain players that will not do well at certain places. Like he went to Atletico Madrid and he's been loaned out ever since. He just didn't fit into their identity. Felix ain't one of those guys you have behind the ball 20, like 90 minutes. We all know Simeone's style of play. They can be very defensively astute, right? But they still play good football. But players like Joao Felix, that's not their game style. These guys like to thrive in attacking teams. They want to take people on. They want to be flary. They want to, pull the tricks out. They want to score goals. They want to assist. They want to try certain things. So it's understandable it was not going to work out at Atletico Madrid. He went there when he was very young as well. So you got to consider that. But last season, good season where Barcelona had some great goals, good assist numbers. And look, for the trade-off, right? Because I think at the end of the day, a lot of Chelsea fans are still on this whole Gallagher situation, which I say this all the time, bro. We've had much better players leave this club. We've had much more important players leave this club. Very influential, by the way. And we didn't really see this much heat. When Juan Mata was sold to Man United, still in his prime years, by the way, it was like 25, 26 when we sold him to United. And I didn't see this much like social media meltdown. That was one of our best players, bro. Won the Champions League in his first season. Won the UEFA um, the Europa League the next season. Like won the League Cup. Juan Mata was a classy player, but we didn't see this meltdown. So I just don't understand it. We've seen Diego Costa ostracized from this team, just sold by Conte. It's just, and you don't really see a lot of people still talking about that. So back to Felix. I mean, for him to trade off with Gallagher, look, I think I like that trade off all day, only because when you look at the profiles we're trying to get into this team, Connor just doesn't fit it, unfortunately. Yes, we could probably do with him now defensively, closing down players, winning the ball back, tackling, all that good stuff. But when it just comes to your qualities on the ball, forget about off the ball. Yes, off the ball is important, but the team and the identity you can see Maresca's trying to create, it needs people to be good on and off the ball. You know what I mean? So if it's going to be more of a possession style and you're someone who's going to be chasing your first touch every single time, you're going to be a liability. If you're always chasing your first touch, your second touch is not good, your third touch is off the pitch, bro, that's just as much pressure as you're bringing onto this team. So in as much as his, like, if you could just switch their defensive abilities between Gallagher and Enzo, you would have a phenomenal player. But unfortunately, something had to give. He had to go. It is what it is. Felix came in. I like the signing a lot. Dewsbury Hall, he's someone who has honestly disappointed me. Like that, he has looked like the worst signing, honestly. Like he's genuinely looked worse than Mudrik this season for me. And I've said this in some of my videos. You're the one guy who cannot be looking like this. Why? Because you spent a whole year with a manager we have. A year. You should know exactly how to play this formation. You should know where to be, how to position yourself. Drewsbury Hall should be the first. He really should be the first name on this team list. Like team sheet, it should be you because you should be the guy the manager can trust. He's played with you a whole year. You know exactly what he wants, how he wants it, how he wants you to play, and he's looked the worst signing we've had. And that is someone, you know what? To caveat that he's not really had minutes, he's been playing the odd, conference league game here and there. So I got to give him grace. Some people do need that consistency to build, they need some game time to build that consistency. And he hasn't really had it. But it's still like, because you're not going to have so many opportunities, when you get the little ones you do, you have to take it. And he hasn't really taken it for me. Jorgensen, we want to see more of what he could do. We know what Sanchez can do, and it's not good enough. We don't really know what Jorgensen could do. So for me, that's someone that should be getting some more game time as well. We will see if he does as the season goes on. Penders, he's not here. Still with Genk. Pointless. Okay, maybe not pointless, but still pointless at the same time. That's not another goalkeeper we need. You already have Sanchez. You have Slonina. You have all these other goalkeepers at the club. So Penders was not really a move that you should be making, but we know he's going to be one of those guys bought in for cheap and being sold 2-3 years later. Probably wouldn't even make an appearance for the club. And if he does, look, 6'7", if he can pass the ball with his feet, if he's good shot stopper, then he might have a future here. But we've already seen the trajectory, and it's most likely going to be just, hey, you've been sold for your value, and you're going to double that when you play somewhere else, and you're moved on. It is what it is. And so Mino, again, back to Boca Juniors. You watch the videos, you read about him, and he seems like one of the good prospects from Argentina when it comes to center backs. But all of that doesn't really mean much till you show it in the Premier League. So until these guys get an opportunity, we're just going to rule those out. Renato Viega has been Vega, not Viega. Vega has been one who has really impressed me. Hasn't really had a lot of minutes either, but when he's come in, you can just see, okay, you know what, this guy's trying to be on it. Defensively, he's in there. When it comes to being physical, aggressive, He's showing it. He's showing the passion as well, cheering on the crowd, celebrating tackles, celebrating goals, all of that good stuff. And these are little fundamentals that really win you some fans. You know what I mean? It's people look at you and people take to you because you're doing the little things well, and you look like you want to be here. And if you saw his interview, he said, "Look, I'm just happy to be here, waking up every day, representing." This is just not verbatim, but representing this club. Look, it's the best feeling, and these are the things that people look at and listen to, and they go, "All right, you know what? We'll take to this guy because he's talking the talk, and so far he's walking the walk." So Viega, decent addition. Mark Gill, cheap, very cheap player, but he needs to work on his finishing. He needs to work on his ball striking technique. I've played ball, so I know how you should be shooting and what you need to do. I've played as a forward. I've played mostly midfield, and goal scoring should be something for a striker from Barcelona. Yeah, you should just be able to finish, bro. Like he does all the little things well. He does some of the hard things well, the hold up play, physicality, bullying defenders. But when it comes to shooting, he just never makes a clean contact with the ball. That is something he needs to work on. But for 6 million euros, bro, you're not gonna be expecting, a Suarez type of finisher or even a Giroud type of finisher. And he's 18. So there's one of them. He's gonna have to grow into, he's just gonna have to grow into his potential. But he looks like someone who needs a loan, maybe a loan or two, because he's not ready at this top level. So, but look, we gotta wait till January, right? We couldn't sign Osimhen, so we're gonna have to ride with Vega um till the season, at least till January anyway. And then Jaden Sancho. Sancho, big, big, big addition from Man United. Look, I think Sancho is a good player. I believe circumstances just didn't allow him, and his time at Man United to go the way he would have wanted it to. Quality player. I think he's going to have a good season here. I believe, honestly, he should be one of the first names on the team sheet. Just the balance that Sancho gives you on that left, and just the ability to retain the ball, to create, to finish. Just a couple of years ago, he was doing it for Borussia Dortmund, and so like he hasn't lost that ability. It's just sometimes it's environment, and we all know that you're in an environment that doesn't really make you comfortable, doesn't help you. You never do your best. It's like working at your job. If your job environment is toxic and it's just not working out for you, you're not going to be your productive best. It's just what it is. You're not going to like it. You're not going to want to be waking up, going to that job. Same thing with Sancho. You know what I mean? Coach didn't really want to play him. And you're not going to tell me Anthony's a better player than Sancho. But Anthony gets more minutes. Garnacho's not a better player than Sancho, but it's the coach's choice. And it is what it is. But just getting someone like that for potentially even 20 to 25 M's, you can't really ask for that much. I'm not even gonna hold you for that quality, for the ability, for the potential, for the experience. Because one of the big things we've been told is Chelsea lack experience. So adding the likes of your Sanchos, your Netos, your Felix, you're adding some people who have been there and they've done it. You know what I mean? They haven't done much, but they've done something. So good addition. And when you look at the outgoings, look, I think when it comes to center backs, Chalaba is one that I wouldn't have mind just having him in the team because I think he's in a good defender. I don't think he's the best. I think he's out of the Desazes and Badiashiles here. Chalaba definitely does a lot better for you. Only problem is for a center back, he doesn't really win a lot of aerial duels. And that was one of our biggest things, our biggest problems last season, aerial duels. But now we have a set piece coach. So maybe Chalaba does a lot better. Bring him in. Look, Badia Shiles just doesn't look ready, and he shouldn't be in this team, honestly. Maybe he needs to be loaned out to Crystal Palace, But all in all, this transfer window, We didn't really get the striker that we wanted. I mean, we still have Jackson, but we all wanted Osimhen. It didn't happen. But when you look at the other areas that we've improved, I'll say, you know what, it's been much needed. So for Chelsea's transfer window, I'll give it a solid. I give it like a B minus. Again, Osimhen for me, if you got Osimhen, that would have been like okay, the creme de la creme. You've added the finisher you need, and that would have definitely bumped this to me to an A minus maybe. But right now, B minus, decent transfer window. And then we move. My next team I'm going to look at is going to be, let's look at Liverpool. Um, didn't really add anyone bar Chiesa and Mamadashvili. Mamadashvili doesn't come till next year. Liverpool's transfer window is going to be a straight C. Like they didn't lose much, but they didn't really add much to the team. But that's still a strong team. They're strong enough to compete for the title because I've heard some Liverpool fans say, you know what, we have a good defense. You know, when you have Van Dijk, you have Trent, Konate, you still have Robertson. Um, you have Mohamed Salah. Look, that alone, you have experience. You have guys who have been there, won it all. These guys, Allison, they have won it all. So Liverpool should be challenging for the league. If you and I was watching Rance's channel today, and he made a good point. If you look at Liverpool's team right now, you look at Arsenal's team. Them players are kind of on the same level. You know what I mean? When you look at player for player, Liverpool have a better goalkeeper. Defense is kind of similar on the same level because Van Dijk is still still a better defender than Saliba. You look at Konate and Gabriel, are they on the same level? You can argue, yes. You know what I mean? You can argue. You take Konate and put Konate in Arsenal's team, and you put Gabriel's in Liverpool's team. You kind of still get the same defensive output. Like none of those defenses are weaker. Right back, people are going to take Trent over Ben White. I know Arsenal fans are going to take Ben White over Trent. I think Ben White is the better defender. But again, Trent is just the overall better player. But we're talking of defenders. So Ben White will be the better defender. When you look at left back, look Robertson. I don't believe he's still that same Robertson from a couple years ago. So you can argue, does he make that team over someone like a Califiori? You know what? I'll say yes because he's been there, done it. He's been in the league. Califiori is still going to have to adapt to the league, and we're going to have to see what he could do. So you look at that defense, you look at that midfield. Again, Gravenberg, McAllister. You can make a case that that's still a solid, defense. I mean, a solid midfield with the way Liverpool fans have talked about it. That's a good midfield. Gravenberg, we saw him really just little bro Man United's midfield. He was just walking through them like bread and some hot butter, just smooth. You know what I mean? So you got that midfield, Gravenberg, you got McAllister, Szoboszlai. He has he has to prove that he's ready because Szoboszlai last season was just disgusting. He was poor. You know what I mean? But I can give him that. You look at Trent, Partey, and Odegaard. I'll say theirs is slightly stronger than Liverpool's, only because Odegaard is a better player than Szoboszlai currently. Yes, Partey is still a better defensive midfielder than Gravenberg, and then you got Rice. So that midfield, Arsenal's probably the strongest. But you can still say Liverpool's midfield it's not too slouchy, right? And then you go to the forward. Liverpool just have better forwards than Arsenal do. Salah is better than every Arsenal forward. You got Diaz, who started the season off like a freak train, just on heat, on smoke, ready to prove a point. And, Diogo Jota is always going to score you goals. One of the clinical strikers we have in the league when he's fit. And then you still have, Chaos and Darwin Núñez, and then you still have Cody Gakpo. So you look at those two teams and you look at their bench, it's kind of similar because Arsenal's reserves right now, who are we talking about? Sterling, Martinelli, uh, Marino, Zinchenko, Jesus. You look at Liverpool's bench, Jones, you got Elliott, you got Chiesa, you have Kwanzaa, you have Cody Gakpo on the bench. Um, you have Nunes on the bench. Again, their benches are similar. If anything, Liverpool's bench might be a bit stronger than Arsenal's. So in that case, Liverpool definitely should be challenging because you listen to their fans, they say that they're not competing for top four because they're not in the same stratosphere as the likes of Man United, Spurs, Chelsea, Newcastle. They're not. So if you're a step further from all these other teams, then you're much closer to the Arsenals than the Chelseas and the Man Uniteds. But you can't just sit on the fence. You gotta either say, you know what, we're better than these other teams, and we have an arguably on paper and even currently right now with the way we started the season, a much closer team to Arsenal. Therefore, we should be challenging Arsenal and Man City for the Premier League. I think Liverpool's team is strong enough. For me, I've still said, and I said this, with Klopp leaving, I don't know how Liverpool were going to perform. I didn't think Slot had it in him, but he's proved us all wrong right now. 3 games, 3 wins, clean sheets galore, and Liverpool are not looking like they're missing much. So definitely have to be challenging without signings made. It's really that simple. But their transfer window, we're talking of letter grade. I give them a C. No, actually, I give them a D because they didn't really do much. I give him a D. I was about to say an F, but again, getting Chiesa was Chiesa maybe 5 years ago, but he's still young enough, so he might still be able to give you something. We all saw how good Chiesa was, man. Chiesa was one of those wingers that you can play him on the left side, right side, left-footed, right-footed. He was just quality, you know. If he can even regain a smidgen of that potential, then Liverpool are going to be cooking. But for that, I still give them I'll give them a D. Yeah, I'll give Liverpool a D. I don't think they did much in the transfer window. Manchester United. Now, United's transfer window, listen, I give them a B minus as well because they bought some decent players. Like they addressed the team and they signed what they needed. You bring in Euro, who again Madrid wanted. He waited for Madrid, yes, but at the end of the day, United got him. He's one of the highly rated defenders. 18 still has so much room to grow. You bring Euro in, you bring Ugarte, who Chelsea. We were close to signing till PSG came in, just took homeboy out of our hands, essentially. When he played for Sporting Lisbon, Ugarte was everybody's favorite midfielder, and we didn't get him. He hasn't really lived up to it in France, but like the way I've given Felix, the way I've given Sancho grace, got to give Ugarte grace because he didn't look like he was in Enrique's plans. He wasn't played enough. And then when you look at that PSG midfield, like Zaire Emery, you look at what was the Brian Ruiz. These guys were the favorites, and they were just a better balance. So Ugarte didn't get that many games, but he still played enough. Delict, Xerxes, Mazurawi. Look, these are good additions, okay? Especially Xerxes, Mazurawi. Xerxes gives you something you don't have. He gives you another option from Hoyland. Xerxes not really clinical, but he gives you something else. He gives you that link up play. He gives you that assured touch. He gives you instinct as well because his goal against Fulham, that was a typical striker's goal. Instinct, finishing, So they've addressed the team. Now, how it comes all along, we don't know how it's going to work out. But I think United still got some decent players in. De Ligt, one of the best defenders like 3-4 years ago when he was at Ajax. Hasn't lived up to it again, but he might come out here and he might just do better with a coach that trusts him. Playing in a league that might suit his particular skill set. The league could, he could thrive in this league. We don't know, but I'll say, you know what? I'll give United a B plus. I think the signings they made, they addressed some of the things they needed. Um, they addressed the positions they needed, and for that, I gotta give them credit. You know. So let's see who else is next. Let's go to Spurs. Um, they got Solanke, they got Archie Gray, Odegaard. Who else did they really get in here? These are the big ones. I think Solanke for them is a big addition. Because Richarlison wasn't really cutting the mustard. Let's be honest. Richarlison is barely fit as well, and they needed goals. Son cannot keep doing it consistently by himself. You know what I mean? So you gotta have someone else in there. You got Solanke, came off a good season, about 19 to 20 Premier League goals. He was clinical, and he's one of those guys who looks like he's had his time developing, and now he's ready for that move. Can stay at Bournemouth forever. So getting a decent move to like Spurs, it's not bad. Let's just see how he can really translate those performances for Spurs now. Um, and Archie Gray, don't really know much about him, but from what you hear, he's highly rated, a defensive midfielder that can play in defense as well. And Spurs they paid a lot of money for him. They paid like 41 million euros, and I believe is 18. So again, decent signings. You spent some money. What would I give Spurs' transfer window? A C plus. I think these aren't guys that really move the needle. Like just Gray, Solanke, and Odegaard take you from fifth to fourth. Probably not, right? I think Solanke still gets you a decent amount of goals. Do I think he gets you 19 again? I actually don't think so. I think Solanke will probably do well to have maybe 14, 15 league goals. That's just my honest opinion. I think he gets maybe 14 to 15. If he gets 19 again, then good kudos to him. I don't see him getting that many goals. And that'll be it for me, really. So Spurs, I think I give them what I say. I think a C plus. Yeah, C plus. So we go to Arsenal. Arsenal, I think a C minus. I'm not even sure what I said, but I'm gonna just do a letter. Arsenal gets a C. Chelsea gets a B. United gets a B. Liverpool gets a D because they didn't really do much. Spurs get a C, and Man City. Look, they brought Gundogan back. They got Savio. They did sell Alvarez to Atletico Madrid, but you got Holland. And so far, Holland is looking like he is ready. Like he didn't go to the Euros, so he's been fresh. And he's looked like he's used that whole time to just this guy was already a good finisher. Now he just looks lethal. It's scary because you're already a great finisher, but now he just looks like there's so much more. Like there was always, I don't even know how to describe it because it makes no sense. But the guy was already a great finisher. Now it looks like he's just elevated those finishes to a certain level that is like, 7 goals in 3 games already, bro. You're doing too much. But that's Holland for you. He's looking clinical. They brought back Gundogan, and you already know what Gundogan is like. Those 10 games till the season is done, it's over. It's over for the league, bro. Even De Bruyne doesn't get you that much output when that time comes. Gundogan is that sixth man in basketball. That's Gundogan for you. He is just, bro. Those 10 games, Gundogan is just going to come in and make it safe for Man City. And their transfer window, They addressed the midfield. They needed a Gundogan replacement. They brought Gundogan back. They needed another option on the wings. They brought Savio back. And based off of his first few games, Savio looks like it's going to be a problem. Like he is going to be, he looks like the Mars region, like most people have said, and it's just true. The guy's touch, when he drops that shoulder, oh my God, bro. Savio just looks like a good player. So Man City are gonna cook in that sense. You know what I mean? Oscar Bob is injured, but look, he probably wasn't going to get that many minutes anyway. But I think Man City is still going to be fine. They really didn't need to address much, but to get that Gundo replacement, and they brought Gundo back. So on that regard, I give them a solid B as well because they haven't weakened. If anything, they've just gotten stronger, and they're going to win the league again for me. So that'll be it. I've given my letter grading. If you guys agree or disagree, you let me know in the comments. And that's it. The next thing I want to talk about, now that the transfer window is close, I think I want to just look at who our strongest, like in our next games to come, who I believe should be in that team, who I believe is going to be our strongest, like options moving forward. Because for me, I've already predicted top four as the goal. I want to see us back in the Champions League, and I know the defense looks a bit leaky right now. I know the defense needs some work for sure. But when you have so much offensive power, you can win a lot of games in a shootout. Yeah, so you can still get 3 points and concede a few goals. You're never going to win championships like that, but you're going to put yourself up, up there and around there. Because if you can win games, look, at the end of the day, all you need is 3 points. Goal difference counts, yes, but you're not always going to play teams that have the power to score as much as you might. You're not always going to play a team that you have to always win your games 4-3, 5-4, 6-3. You're not going to do that. Most teams don't really have the power. When you look at this Premier League, most teams ain't going to score that many goals anyway. But yes, when you play against like your West Hams, your Spurs, your Newcastles, Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool, Man United, these are the teams that you're going to have to really outscore these teams because they're always going to get a goal. But the other teams, and no disrespect to any team, they wouldn't really have the firepower. Yes, they'll score a goal here and there, but I don't think a lot of teams are going to be able to just go gun for gun, right? So for me, this is how I'll set the team up. From now, again, you always have to rotate your team, but if we're talking certain games where I just want to have a lot more control and still have so many, attacking options, this is the team I'll go with, and I'll show you guys in a bit. But I believe that I think this team gives us a better balance. I think this team gives us um, creativity. I think this team gives us goals. I think this team gives us just the chance to get 3 points on a consistent basis. So without further ado, this is going to be my team. If I was Maresca, this would be my team for the rest of the season, especially in bigger games. This is what I'll go with. I'll go Jorgensen in goal. I know Maresca's already said, look, Jorgensen is going to be the cup goalie and the conference league. So I get it. But for me, Jorgensen starts. Like I said, Sanchez is not convinced me. Sanchez, you know with Sanchez, he's always got that moment of just a lack of concentration. So it's just always going to be a problem. Defense, it's pretty clear. Fofana and Cole right now, they're looking like they're growing in that role. They're looking like they're understanding how the other one wants to play. Fofana is looking sharp. For someone who's missed about 2 years of football, the guy's looking pretty sharp. Cole, again, he's looking more commanding. Those passes are a bit more crispier. The passes have more pace to them. He's finding his man in midfield, and he's defending better. My only criticism is these guys keep still backing off of attackers. I don't like that. When someone has space when someone has so much space in that midfield, rush out and close it out. Because you get like against Palace, Anybody rushed, if someone rushed to meet Eze when he had that opportunity, you either get a block in or he rushes the shot or he lays it off to somebody else. Eze had so much time to just place. He could have taken the ball and went and placed it in the part of the goal he wanted. That's my only criticism with this midfield and this defensive line. We let too many people just that midfield be too exposed, and we don't. It don't look like we get a tackle in. It looks like we're always late to closing someone down. But Fofana and Cole have to do a lot better. But also that midfield has to be more compact. Cucurella is going to play as a left center back for me. We already know he's played this role for Brighton before. He's played this role for Chelsea. He's comfortable in that role. And you have three center backs technically, so you're not as exposed in the wide areas. You always have Colwell who can be like the sweeper. You know what I mean? He can see what's developing in front of him, and then he can go in, sweep up. Everything is calm. In midfield, I'm going to go Caicedo, Lavia. Enzo for me needs to hold bench for a good while. Now, we look like we're short in midfield. Like we went from having so many options in midfield, Ugochukwu and Santos, and we're going, yo, how are these guys all going to play? To now we're like, yo, if Enzo doesn't play and Lavia is not fit, Caicedo's the only one there. You could always invert Vega, or Cucurella. You know what I mean? But it's like I don't like that. I want midfielders in midfield and guys who can actually play that role. But Caicedo, Lavia, I think they'll give us a better balance. Them two close enough. You guys have already seen Lavia, so I don't have to explain it. The guy is, being able to receive the ball off the defense, press resistant, forward passing, touches, defensive ability, tackling, interceptions, reading the game. Lavia's got it. He's got it all. And, I'm happy they're kind of, managing his minutes in this way because him, Fofana, these guys have been out for a good while. Even in Kunku, they've been out for a while. So I'm happy they're taking all the precautions, but I want to see these two guys more. If we're defending more, you could always have Caicedo play as your right back, just, go into that role. When we have the ball, he inverts back to midfield. Because Caicedo defensively, we know he's pretty decent at it. He can cover that side. All we can take from is that Brighton performance. He's played him in that position for Brighton. So you already know Caicedo, as your inverted fullback, he can do something for you. And him and Lavia in midfield, I think they're going to cook. They're going to have a solid partnership. Up front is where it's exciting. Like, you look on paper, bro. Like, you look on paper, forget the defense. On paper, this should look like such a strong team. Like, this team right here should be blowing teams, like, out the water. Most games we're going to, we shouldn't be scoring no less than 3 goals. If you're going to, this is just on paper, by the way, people. Just on paper, this team should not be walking away from games without 3 goals. I took out Madueke. I want to say Neto on that flank. I believe Neto on that flank might be a bit more dangerous than Noni, only because you look at Neto. He's just as quick as Madueke. You know what I mean? The cutbacks. He's got the cutbacks on lock. He doesn't score a lot of goals, but creativity, like he's got it. He can beat a man. He can come on the inside. He can shoot. We all know Neto is a quality player. So for me, Noni holds bench. I play Neto on that right flank. Palmer just does what Palmer does in central areas. He's that architect. He is the magician. Palmer is the heartbeat of this team. And look, it is what it is. When you look at other teams, young players are still they're the talisman of these teams. So people are gonna be like, yo, how's Cole Palmer your talisman and he's so young, bro? If you can play, you can play. You look at Spain's team when they won the Euros. Yamal, hella young, but he was basically Spain's talisman. Him and Williams on the flanks, causing problems all day. And they played a key role in winning the Euros for Spain. So it ain't about age at this point. If you can play, you can play. And Palmer just does so much better in those central areas. Yes, in certain games, if you want to play Palmer on the right to bring in an extra midfielder, yeah, you could do that. And next to Palmer, Nkunku has to play for me, bro. Like, we've gone from wait till Nkunku's fit. Wait till Nkunku's fit, to him barely even getting game time. And Enzo has been stinging up the joint for the last 4 or 5 games. So yo, take him out. You're not gonna get worse defensive output from Enzo like you would in Nkunku. I mean from Nkunku like you would Enzo. They're genuinely probably gonna give you the same level of defensive output anyway. But with Nkunku, you get more attacking impetus, you get more creativity, you get more goals, you get more, on the front foot. Enzo right now ain't doing it. Take him out, put in Nkunku in that central role, and watch him and Palmer just cook. And Nkunku doesn't really seem comfortable on the right. I mean, on the left, so I wouldn't do it. It's not a right winger, so please don't do that. And then you got Sancho on the other flank. Usually Neto plays on the flank, but in this lineup for me, in this formation, I want to see Neto and Sancho just be direct. I want them to have their fullbacks on the back foot all game. Like when you have Sancho running at you, you have Neto running at you, bro. You cannot breathe. If anything, you're going to force the other team's wingers to come, double team on these guys, and then you create more spaces in different areas of the pitch anyway. Look, Sancho hasn't had a good year or two at United, but you can't tell me that guy is not a player. You can't tell me he's not a footballer. Sancho he was creating some serious numbers in Germany, right? We're not in Germany, but Sancho can still play. So for me, that left flank is his. Let him do his thing over there. Let him combine with Nkunku, your Palmers. Let him combine with your Lavia. Let him combine with your Jackson, the 1-2s, the touches. Just let Sancho do his thing on the left. And who else but Jackson up front? And the good thing with this team that I have up here is that even though Jackson doesn't score, the other guys can chip in. That front five looks like goals galore. Straight goals galore. Goals, assist, creativity, everything. With that front five, you would have it. Like when you play certain teams that are just straight low blocks, you can start the game like this. Lavia, Caicedo. Just be like, you guys don't move. Just hold your positions. Don't go forward. Bro, just stay in the midfield. Fafana, Koa, Cucurella, just stay in your positions. If the team wants to press, you press high, but you can win the ball back. And that's it. This team will, this front five will cause a lot of teams problems. And that's why I want to see them play. I think for me, this is what I want to see. Off the bench, you can have Felix. Felix can come in and do his thing. You have Enzo off the bench. You have Mudrik off the bench. You have Noni off the bench. You have Drewsbury Hall off the bench. Look, we're going. That's the strength and depth that we've always been looking for like the last couple of years. Last year, you saw the options we had on the bench, man. It just wasn't good. Castledine, Gilchrist, a Champong. Who else? Just some of these names were just not it. You know what I mean? So being able to go from that to having, Desasi, Vega, these guys on the bench, I'm thinking, okay, you could do something with this team. This team right here, and I know it's not played on paper, but this team realistically should be able to go into games and dominate from minute 1 to minute 90. This team should be able to be just possession, have the ball, not give it away, because all these guys, they look competent when they have the ball at their feet. You can't really dispossess a lot of these guys. Sancho, he's comfortable with the ball in possession. Nkunku, comfy with the ball in possession. Palmer, don't embarrass yourself trying to like Mark Palmer. He's going to make you look silly. We've seen him do it to players. Did it to Delo, did it to Everton's team, did it to Man City. Like Palmer's been cooking everybody. So it doesn't even matter who you are. You can come and get some. You're looking Neto as well. You can't get the ball off of these guys. Jackson is also someone who's hard to dispossess. His problem is he does all the hard things. Jackson can beat 6 people, get to the box, and then Just F it up. That's Jackson's problem. But everything else, yo, you talk about possession, aerial duels, link up play, physical strength. Yo, Jackson he can give everybody problems. So with this five, you games like the Crystal Palace game, if you started this team, I think that game is already done by halftime. Like that game is dusted halftime. We have a 3-0 lead, and we just second half, just sit, relax, make some changes, and you good. Not Enzo sticking up the joint. You know what I mean? Have number 10s playing that midfield. Have Palmer create. Have Nkunku create. You know Nkunku's clinical as well. Palmer, clinical as well. You know what I mean? Sancho is not as clinical, but you have the creativity. Neto, problems. Running at people, cutbacks, pressing, and all these guys can press. Palmer's a good presser. Nkunku's a good presser. Sancho can press. Neto can press. Jackson can press. Bro, you should not even have to be waiting till like the 65th, 70th minute to really be like just aggressive. This team off the rip, now you can say the midfield looks a bit light, but that's what I'm saying. If you attack with five and we don't have the ball out of possession, these guys are pressing. Caicedo and Lavia remain compact, bro. We good, man. This team right here should be giving you goals galore. Like even if we're conceded, once we go back the other end, we're going to create a chance. It's about, are we going to take it or not? We know Jackson is not always going to take these chances, but Nkunku might take these chances, even though he himself, he's not been looking as clinical lately. I'm not even going to lie. There's been a few games where Nkunku could have just dinked the ball, first time shot. He's been effing it up a bit, but you give him a chance, he's most likely going to score. Sancho, clinical as well. He's not a high numbers, when it comes to goals, but the creativity is going to be there. Sancho's his take ons is going to be disgusting, bro. In this team, and how Maresca likes his wingers to be 1v1. Bro, you telling me Neto and Sancho on the flanks, isolated with their fullbacks, is not going to cook? Come on, bro. Yo, they will give most team problems. Now, when you play against your Man Cities, then you can say, all right, you know what? You take one of these guys out. You can say, all right, you know what? I take Nkunku out of this team, add another fullback, and just go with the 4-2, 3-1. Defensively, you bring Reece James in, you take Nkunku out, Reece James as your fullback, your right back, Caicedo, Lavia still your midfield, Neto, Palmer, Sancho, Jackson. Yo, Man City might still lose that game, but it's not going to be embarrassing. We'll still put up a decent fight. I don't know if this team like this on paper can go play Man City or even Liverpool and come out with 3. I think those games, if you play this team against Liverpool, I think that game probably ends like some serious 4-4, 5-5. Because historically, we've not really been losing to Liverpool a lot. Yeah, last season they beat us home, when they beat us in Anfield, and then they beat us in the Carabao Cup. But our last 5-6 games with Liverpool all ended in draws. So again, we have the ability to be able to get results from Liverpool. And if you want to play this exact team, I think, the midfield might be a bit lightweight, but this is freaking attacking as hell. Nkunku, Palmer in the half spaces, Neto and Sancho taking on Trent and Robertson. You can create certain like dangerous situations. And Jackson is no slouch. When we played Liverpool last year, Jackson against Van Dijk and Konate, Jackson was still cooking. Not the away game, the home game. You remember that chance Jackson really had? I think it was last minute. Liverpool had a corner, goalie caught it, threw the ball to Jackson, and from back to front, bro, he held off Konate, ran past Van Dijk, and then he played his pass to Mudryk was, I think, perfect, but Mudryk's touch took him super wide, and that chance kind of fucked up. But that's what you get with Jackson. The finishing, yes, he needs to really just work on that. But everything else with his team, I think we should be able to be good. So if Maresca ever watches any of my videos, he's never going to, bro. But if he ever does, throw this team against your Ipswich, even against Spurs. If this team plays against Spurs right now, bro, I guarantee you, we beat Spurs because they're going to play that series high line. That high line is going to be like someone losing their hairline. It's going to be all the way up here. And you have your Netos running at their fullbacks, Sancho. Oh my God, bro. That should have been movies. All you got to do is tell Caicedo and Lavia, bro, don't go nowhere. Just sit in that midfield and clean up everything that comes. Clean up. And if these guys are pushing up, you can say, okay, Cole, you make sure. If you're not getting the ball, you don't miss the man, bro. Just this team will really be movies, bro. I don't know if we're ever going to see this team ever like this in any game. You might, but it's not going to be a lot of games. But if we ever saw, look, if we ever saw this team like this, I'll probably say that game we. I'll say that game we win by 6. Guys, give me 1 second. Let me fix this. That's I'm back. But sorry. If we ever played this team against certain teams, look, against your Ipswich, whenever you play Everton, they're going to be very hard to break. So you could just throw this team right there against Everton, against Fulham. You could throw this. Again, with the big teams, I don't know if you can, because one ball into that midfield, they take out all them 4 guys. Yeah, now we're just exposed as fuck. But you still have 5 people attacking, 5 people defending anyway. So you play this team, you're scoring 6 goals, man. Guaranteed. And that'll be a few times, by the way. Oh, you play this team, you score 6 goals a few games. It might be like back to back, or you get some serious results. So this will be my team, and then that'll be it. But I don't know if Maresca's ever going to play this, but if he ever did, I guarantee you we're going to win some games for sure. And then the last bit about the video, guys, I'm going to do so I did my predicted, who's going to finish first to 20. But after the transfer window's done, I want to talk about my updated top 6. I think I've had to think about it. I've seen some of these teams' performances, and I just realized some people ain't gonna make it. I had high hopes for United, but I don't think United are going to essentially be where I thought they were going to be. I don't think United are going to finish. And I'm going to end the video with this, because I don't think United are going to finish where I thought they were going to. So let me just show you my predicted top 6, my updated top 6. And this will be it. I'm still going to go with Man City winning the league, because I don't believe Arsenal have done enough. I don't think Liverpool have done enough. Chelsea, we ain't going to be nowhere near challenging for the league, let's be honest. And Villa, I think they're going to finish 5th. So this is my updated top 6. Man City champions, Arsenal 2nd. Although, if Arsenal keep looking the way they're looking, I would not be surprised if Liverpool, overtakes them. Now, it's only been 3 games, so can't really say, Liverpool is going to be the real deal right now. But with the way they've started, with the way Slot looks like he's on it, Slot looks like he's just on it. He ain't playing no games. He's not here for he's not a passion merchant. Slot looks like a headmaster, bro. He comes in, gets his job done, he's out. Like, he's not here to play with you. He's not here to dab you up. No fist bumps, nothing. He looks like a professional. Look, we go, we get 3 points, we go back home, donezo. No, none of that extra, do it for the camera. Nah, Slot doesn't. He looks so far like he's just focused, bro. He looks focused, get the job done, and that's it. So I think Liverpool might actually, if they keep playing like this, yeah, they're gonna lose games. But if Arsenal keep playing the way they're playing, and Liverpool keep playing the way they're playing, then probably this will have to be flipped. But I'm still gonna go Arsenal 2nd, Liverpool 3rd. I think with the firepower we have, if we don't finish 4th, it's an embarrassment. I'm sorry. Yes, I know the defense sucks, but you have too much quality going forward to now win points. With that team I just had on the screen, that team should be getting you some serious points against certain oppositions. So, fourth, if we don't get it, we fail. It's been an awful season. Get fourth, win the conference league, get back into the Champions League, add a good defender, bring back Santos and Ugochukwu, and then we good. And then, oh yeah, of course, you add a striker, then we solid. I believe we might go back for Osimhen, but I don't know. But with the team we have now, top four should be the target. It should be the bare minimum. I'm so sorry. Even be looking at third, but again, them two teams ahead of us, Liverpool, Arsenal, I don't think we're going. Look, I thought at some point we might catch Liverpool, but with the way they've started, I can honestly say, you know what? Yeah, Liverpool might comfortably, they might comfortably finish in third. But it's only been 3 games. But those 3 games have shown us like, yeah, this team is going to be serious. Let's see how 10 games go, 15 games. Villa, for me, are going to come fifth. I think they've done some serious additions as well. Onana, he's come in. Onana's looking pretty good. 2 goals in 2 games. Don't look like they're slowing down. They still got the what's the coach's name? Good evening. You know what I mean? So he's also gonna still do his thing. They sold Diaby, but they don't look any weaker. Duran is scoring goals. Watkins is not on it, but Duran is coming. 2 goals in 2 games. Bro, Villa is still gonna be a problem. You can bring Rose Barkley. You have Rodgers, legit dog walking, Thomas Partey, and Declan Rice for fun. Yeah, Villa is still going to be up there. So I went with them fifth, Spurs sixth. I just don't think they've done enough, and I don't think they're going to be in the top 5 this year. So this is my updated top 6. Guys, if you agree or disagree, let me know in the comments. I'm going to end the video here. My next video, I'm probably going to do a predicted starting 11 for, I've already done Chelsea's. So I'm going to probably do it for all the other teams, see how strong these other teams look good. So I'm going to do Liverpool, Man United, Man City, Arsenal, and probably Spurs. And then we'll just see how all these teams are lining up with their talent. And then I'll just kind of break it down and we'll see how it goes. But this will be my top 6. You've already seen the predicted lineups that I'll be going with if I was Maresca. And that'll be it for today's video. But people, if this is your first time coming across my video, we're at 86 subs now. I want to get it to 100, at least 100 to like 150 by the end of this month. So if you like the video, if you like the content, sub to the channel, like the video, share the video to somebody, let them know to share it to somebody. Hop in the comments, man. Let me know what you think. If you agree with something I'm saying or you disagree, let me know. And I'm gonna have to do like a call-in show one of these days as well. I want to get some Arsenal fans on, Liverpool fans. I want to hear how you guys are feeling about the season because we're already 3 games in. It's been some development. So you let me know how you feel, but that's gonna be for another time. But guys, it's been fun. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys in the next video. But don't hate the messenger. You know what I mean? This is just what I feel is gonna happen. Man City, they're gonna do 5 in a row. And we are the Farmers League. So, yeah. Till next time.